All right, today I'm doing some diagnostics on a 77 or 78 Bronco. Oh no, 77, let's see, 78 or 79, sorry. I can't remember everything. But it's got some running issues. Large vacuum leak, just runs terrible. Some of the initial things, I guess I didn't even start to look for the vacuum leak yet. That we had suspected had something to do with the carburetor, but the intake manifold's going to come off anyways. You have leaks at all four corners. Antifreeze leak is at all four corners. So I'm already assuming it's probably not sealing air either. You know, if it doesn't seal water, the water's under pressure, and the amount of vacuum compared to the amount of pressure when it's heat up is different. But this is also like the thickest intake gasket I've ever seen. I'm not sure what's up with that. That doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong. There might be a correction of something. I'm not really... Oh, we need to find out. Either way, all four corners of the intake manifold leak. So this is really documentation for the owner of what I found, why I made the changes I did. Essentially just justifying why I'm here. Okay, so the first thing I noticed, what I really thought we'd find was a leak at the back of the carburetor, and that's actually not true. Although what we see here, it's hard to see in the video, is that it has a spread bore to square bore adapter, and it's on backwards. Although that being on backwards doesn't matter in this case, because it has a square bore. So that already doesn't make sense. I don't know what's going on here, or maybe it's on upside down. I don't know what is happening. When we look at the gasket, I can see that it was actually sealing. You know, it gets thin, but it still had paper there, so it wasn't directly to the outside. So it seemed to be sealing everywhere. Well, there's a tear here. I don't know what's going on with this, but it seems large enough that probably wouldn't be the issue. The one thing I did notice is this gasket's been reused. You can see there's a lot of material missing here, a lot of material missing here. So it's quite likely that it might not have been sealing here, because it's no longer the same thickness. All this paper is missing, so it's essentially thinner here. Possibly, we'll see. Anyways, again, this is just for a matter of record. And what I'm going to do is, next as the intake's coming off, I'm not going to reuse the spread bore adapter for the square bore. If it needs a 1-inch adapter, I will get a phenolic adapter made for a square bore, not a spread bore. And then eventually we'll see what was wrong with this intake to begin with. Why is it leaking at all four corners? Why isn't it closing or sealing? Why isn't it sealing? As I go along, this is supposed to be a new engine in here. Or as far as I know, I was told that this is a new rebuilt engine. But I'm going to replace these shitty old hoses. I'll probably replace all these hoses. I don't know what's going on. Like, all this fuel line used as a vacuum line is actually in good condition, although the fuel line is in terrible shape. That vacuum hose over there is not in good shape. I kind of don't understand how the thought process on some things, but later when I'm discussing it, I don't remember everything I did. This is the documentation that shows why I did the things I did, what I found initially, what choices I made. I am going to hook up the vacuum advance. I'll recurve the distributor so that it works better, get some better drivability out of it. So this is step one. And see why things happen the way they did. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's on upside down. I can see that it doesn't really match. So it might be a spread bore intake. with a square bore adapter, but they put the adapter on upside down. Not really sure. I guess we're gonna find out. I might not, I don't know if I want to use this intake anyways. This is a big heavy truck, 460. Well, this is a 460 in here. I don't know if I mentioned that. Not the original engine, obviously. So it's got a 460 in it, but I don't know the history of it. So I'm going to do some testing, see if I can figure out, I'll take off the valve cover, see what heads it has on it. See if the ports from this end even comes close to matching the heads on this block. You know, as far as I know, this is out of a 78 Lincoln, who knows? You know, it might be some very low performance engine, or maybe they did, we don't even know. It's always tough when I don't have any information and I have to start making things work right. But the carb is actually too small for this engine. That Edelbrock Carter AFB copy is, I believe that's 600 CFM, but for 460 at 5,000 RPMs really needs more, closer to 700 or 750. Yeah, this engine will actually run out of carburation before it runs out of power. Well, I guess runs out of mechanical power. It'll run out of like CFMs and run out of air and fall on its face before it runs out to its mechanical limits. So here we go, day one.